Hello and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Test Drive Unlimited, but this not just any kind of normal version of the game. This is using the Platinum mod, which is quite possibly one of the most impressive, one of my favourite mods that I've ever come across. Also, that is the worst snooker table. Is it a snooker? Are you supposed to be a snooker table? I feel like you're missing important bits like the pockets somewhere. You know what? Let's not question that too much. Let's right. That wasn't an important part of the mod. That's the first time I've noticed how wobbly that table actually is. I say wobbly. It doesn't work. Anyway, yes, this mod adds in a unbelievably huge amount of vehicles into the game, to the tune of nearly 900 cars added. Now that means that your garage is going to look very different to the last time you would have come across this game. For example, I have a Ferrari 348 Spider that I like as an E-Class car. It's quite fast. I also have a Renault Twingo, which will excite many people. Yes, the Twingo. This is the only Twingo in the game. They don't have the older Twingo, but there is a Twingo Sport Cup. There's also a McLaren Senna, and yes, you can park your Twingo next to a McLaren Senna if you so wish. Bugatti Type 57, an Aston Martin Vulcan, or a Ford Mustang Boss. And this is a tiny, tiny fraction of the cars that are available. Now, I will say, I kind of cheesed my way to these cars. These are prize vehicles. However, one of the patches I installed to the game meant that if you just sort of clicked on the prize car in the dealership, you could go and get it for free, essentially. So, I mean, I'm not going to turn down a free McLaren Senna and Vulcan. It kind of helps me get around the map quickly early on. Little bit cheaty, that much. That was bought legit with money, as was the Twingo, as was the Ferrari, and so on. Yeah, this is just a tiny, tiny, small taste of just the sheer number of vehicles. We're going to go for a little bit of a drive, because, I mean, this is kind of... We will do some races, we'll do some driving, because it's more than just vehicles added to the game. However, the number of vehicles added and the sort of vehicles, and in some ways that's the more important part. So, where's a good garage to start off? Here is a pretty good garage to go and have a jump to and have a little bit of a poke around. So this is one of the garages you'll go to buy your first car. When you fire the game up, if you start a new career mode, you fire the game up, this will be one of the first garages. It gives you 3 garages to choose from. There are a lot of cars you could have as a first car. You've got MX-5, GT80, I think it's 30 grand to start with, or something like that. GT86, for example, 240 SX, Lexus SC300, Civic, Focus SVT, the Golf, the VR6 Golf. Naturally, I went for the Fiat Coupe, because if you give me an option for a Fiat Coupe in a game, I'm going to buy it pretty much straight away. There's even a Peugeot 308. I don't know why you'd want it, but if you do, it is in the game. And then there's a Chevy Impala. It's just the sheer number of cars and the variety in cars, the different sorts of vehicles. It's not just all about your latest supercars, your latest hypercars. Yes, they are around the place. Yes, you can go and get the McLaren Senna, you can go get the Ferrari 812 superfast thing. Sure, however, there are so many vehicles, different sorts of vehicles to choose from. A little Alpine, Audi Quattro is in here, Lancia 037, of course, always interested with the 037, Lancia Stratos, Ferrari Dino, the little 595, if you want that one. Volvo 242 is in here. 205 T16 that I'm very tempted to go and buy, naturally. There's so many cars in this one. If you do like your high-end cars, don't worry. There's about 3 garages full of Ferraris for you. Let's just go and have a... We'll start off by having a little jump around the showroom, because this is kind of, I say, the exciting thing. Yeah, there's lots. You've got 458, you've got 512 TI, you've got the newish California T, I think. 488 GTB is in here, 575. Again, this is one of the Ferrari dealers. There's another one with another 12 and so on, however many specials around the place. There's a 348 that I have, fairly cheap. 355 is in here, 360, 430 Spider. There's a 360 Challenge I saw in the other Ferrari dealership, and so on and so forth, and it's just... So yeah, you've got all of them, all the different Ferraris that you could imagine, and then you've got, of course, all the classic cars. You do get some peculiar dealerships. This is my personal favourite, if I can find it. Here we go, my personal my personal favourite, as you can probably see from the flashing icon. Yes, it is Bugatti and Volvo. With so many cars, I guess they had to kind of find places to put some odd vehicles. There are a couple of other weird additions around the place as well. But yeah, you've got EB110s, you've got a Veyron, you've got a Chiron in here, you've got the Type 57 alongside a Volvo S60R. Now, I like the S60R. It's a nice car. Doesn't normally go in the same showroom as a Chiron, but there we go. The 850R is here, of course, along with an XC90, and yeah, it's mad. It's just a huge amount of cars, and it will keep you wanting to play this game. I completed Test Drive Unlimited many years ago. I spent a lot of time on Test Drive Unlimited. I thought it was a fantastic game. Still do think it's a fantastic game, and this is a reason to go back and play this game. This is a reason to go and buy this game, find a copy of this game on PC, because your garage and your experience is going to be entirely different here, because the options are crazy. The options are absolutely ridiculous. You can drive just about any car that you want. There are heaps and heaps of classic cars. Of course, me being a big American muscle car fan, there are a tremendous amount of them if I can find where the garage is. I've gone around to unlock most of the garages that I can. Where are the classic American cars? That's the US Independence. That's not what we want. Your Chrysler. Where was that bloody... Is it up here, maybe? I don't know. There was a very, very exciting US muscle cars. That's the dealership I want to go to. Sadly, there's no Plymouth Fury, so I can't have my car. But here we go. Now, this is the sort of garage that you want. The Ford Thunderbird. Why not? You got Mustang GT, Mustang Fastback, Shelby GT500, Shelby Cobra. We've got the Shelby Daytona, of course. There is the Plymouth Superbird. That is here. Plymouth GTX, Plymouth Barracuda, and the Hemi Cuda as well. Just about any sort of car you could want is going to be somewhere about in this game. And not just that, cars can be upgraded. I believe, I haven't come across... I haven't owned any yet in here, but some of the vehicles, for example, can get like special upgrades. So you can turn a normal Jeep Cherokee into a Jeep Trackhawk when you go to the modification shops. So there are kind of like some extra special editions of vehicles, and you've got things like I think some Porsches can be turned into Roughs, or you might be able to get the Rough Blackbird, or I think that's the name of it, out of a sort of normal Porsche. You get an unusual Tuscan, I have to say. Don't normally see that particular Tuscan in here. The Tuscan S you see a lot of, but not, I guess, the more standard version of Tuscan. But yeah, you've got 4 different TBRs, which is about the most TBRs I've seen in the game for a very, very long time, and the Turbo Speed 12 is in, which always makes me happy. The Kia Stinger got lumped in with the British cars, because I think they ran out of garage spaces to put it, but the Stinger's in here, Ginetta F400, Noble M12, Noble M600, Ascari KZ1. I could list cars, but yeah, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. A massive amount of vehicles to be playing around with. There is a downside to all of these vehicles. There is a downside, and that is the balance goes a little bit conky. I think that is probably the politest way to put it. Now, my Ferrari is an E-Class car, which is the, well, I guess kind of the second lowest category. There's a G-Class that's mostly for classic cars. It's kind of a little bit of a separate thing. Then you have the F-Class, which you start off with. I had the Fiat Coupe in, and then you go up to E-Class. And this Ferrari is not slow. This Ferrari is not slow at all. For example, so we're going in the tuning shop. I actually want to upgrade this car because I'm going to be using it in events. So we're going to go for 70,000 money upgrade, dollar upgrade, here we go, which gives it 409 horsepower. It's down to 2,800 pounds, 0 to 60 under 5 seconds, top speed over 180 miles an hour, and that's still in E-Class. And this is the sort of, this is going to be going up against a Nissan 300ZX. I believe I have a 300ZX, of course I do. This is going to be in that same category. And that means when it goes to races, they can be very, very unbalanced, depending on what the AI are driving and if they're upgraded and so on. Now, there's one of these races in particular. I don't know. No, it's not that one. Where was it? There's one race. Is it this one here? Yeah, this one here. This race. Christ, have I had some fun trying to win this one. Now, I don't know what... Of course, there is a huge number of cars, so the game might not draw me against some of the particularly bad ones. But I don't know what we're going to get. SUVs are not what you want. This is actually probably one of the better groups I've been drawn against. So, the reason I know about the Cherokee is... One time when loading up this race, I came up against... Oh, every time I've loaded up this race, I've come up against something that is unbelievably fast for E-Class. And I mean ridiculously fast for E-Class. It looks like this is going to be a fun race between me and the Merc. Yeah, a Jeep Cherokee, which I presume was one that came and upgraded to a Trackhawk or something, was completely untouchable. I was using a Dodge Challenger at the time, and I didn't stand a hope of beating it. It was ridiculous. And then other races you'll turn up to and be so much faster than the AI cars. It's yeah. There is so many cars to now try and put into categories that the balance does get a little bit skewed. Some cars are very, very weak in their class. Some cars are unbelievably fast. This 348, I don't know this Ferrari particularly well, so I might forget. This seems like a pretty solid choice for E-Class. The SUVs I did see in D-Class, there was a Porsche Cayenne, Macan, didn't pay any attention. I did a D-Class race with the Mustang Boss, and the Porsche buggered off up at the front. So there might, there'll be some slightly wonky car categories. There'll probably be times where you're going to have to get the right vehicle for the right event, or hope that the game is going to be kind to you, that it doesn't draw you against the worst possible combination of cars. It's a little bit skewed, and if you want to play through this game, I say ultra legitimately and so on, there will probably be times where it'll be a bit frustrating that some of the AI cars are insanely fast. Likewise, the AI can be a little dopey. One of the patches did fix it on the most parts to make them considerably better. However, a couple of tracks I've driven around, they have done some quite silly things. Like there's one particular wall at a circuit that every single AI hit every single lap. I don't know why. And when I reloaded the race and tried it again, I guess it was a different combination of cars and they were fine. But yeah, some slightly odd things happen around here. Oh dear, and there we go. That's got a bump in test drive, bump on the road in test drive. That'll still let go. That wasn't so clever. Oh no. Oh, it's a 3-lap race. We might be able to catch the Merc. Come back here. I'm going to go for cheesing tactics. Oh, I don't want to go cheesing tactics. I don't want to go across the grass on my Ferrari. I feel like that's going to be iffy. Well, we've lost some time. Let's try and make some time up, or lose more by spinning it there. Now, handling, physics-wise, has been changed some in this. Handling-wise, it's still using, you know, the base test drive physics, not an entire physics rework. However, the vehicles are, you know, tweaked individually and so on. So they do drive, I say differently, they drive differently to each other and so on. It's still test drive unlimited handling. Unlimited, the first Unlimited here is, I think, in many ways a better driving game than 2. I liked Test Drive Unlimited 2, it was fantastic fun. I liked being able to walk around the garages in first person and all of that, but the driving was wonky, and that's putting it politely. Whereas on here, the driving is, I think, a little better, although you will still get the sudden hit a bump and your car wants to point the wrong way. That's just something that happens. And now that Mercedes has got to the lead, it's going to piss off at the front, aren't you? Don't you do this to me. God damn it. I know I made a goof on my own, however... Oh, you don't like going flat out over here, do you? This is my opportunity. This is the time for the Ferrari to shine. I know Bumps got the better of me last time. We're going to have to be full bravery to the lead. Now, we know what happened last time here. The AI likes to visit the fence on the outside. I'm going to not jump on the throttle like a lunatic. There we go. Yeah, you can see by the distances, in fact, going on around here. A little wonky in terms of the balance, and especially with some of the SUVs being so phenomenally fast. I'm having to be really careful now. I'm a little worried I'm going to screw this up with a lap to go. It was fine. The first lap we were all good, and now I've just lost all the confidence in, well, it's more my driving than the Ferrari. I'm not really sure I can blame the Ferrari for silliness on the bumps. But here we go. Carefully does it down here. Just don't go too aggressive. I have turned off all the driver assists and all that. And, well, for the most part, it's not really that much of a problem. However, if you do just catch cars awkwardly on a bump, they can get quite upset, and that has been the test drive way. Yeah, it's just how it works.
At the next intersection,
so, yeah, classes are
Turn right.
fun times to drive around. You will have to, you know, try and find a vehicle that works and kind of hope for the best, really. However, I'm kind of okay with that, I'll be honest. There's so many different vehicles that I want to play around with that I'm probably going to be buying a whole bunch of them anyway. There are a few races that you can get money out of very quickly. And while I don't think this has changed the money that much, again, if you want to, you know, if you've played through the game a huge amount and just want to play around, there'll be plenty of mods. I have no doubt that you can find completed game saves or mods trainers for money that you can just spawn in and go wild if you want to play through the game. Legit, you'll have to be a little more careful with your car selection, but there are plenty of ways to make money fairly quickly. In fact, there's a race I'll be doing. Admittedly, I cheesed in the Senna that made it easier. But down here, 170 mile an hour in heavy traffic is like 15,000 for winning it, and with a half-decent car, you can do that in not very long at all. So you can just go through all of those races, and so on. Yeah, there are classes you'll come across that are a nightmare. There are classes where you will have the massively, massively dominant car. So, yeah, that's... That's probably the biggest draw. I'd say the other kind of drawback is there is just such a huge amount. There's a huge amount of cars, and you're going to be wanting to keep getting money to buy the bloody houses to try and store all the huge number of cars. And I want more cars than I have housing space, which, funnily enough, sounds a lot like real life. What's we've got the Chevy Classic. I love that we have to have an entire dealership just for classic Chevrolets, and it is a dealership that you would want to be in. So we've got C1. Oh, we've got two different. So we've got like the very, very early C1. We've then got the C1 with the V8. We've then got a C1 with even more power from a V8. Then you've got C2. Then we've got a C3. Then we've got a C3 LT1, and then we've got an Impala with a turbo. I like the name Turbo Fire SS. Now that is a name right there. And then there's a Z28 Camaro. And then there's a Nova, and a Chevelle. That'd probably be it, unless there's an El Camino. Oh, no El Camino. Boo! No El Camino, what a disappointment. Yeah, again, a whole class thing. This lot here are all in the same class. This lot here are also all in the same class as a 205 T16, and I'd be worried about the 205's ability when it came to a corner. Yeah, I don't think these would like racing up against that one too much. Too much at all. Shall we go and let's go and do another race. Let's go and do another event. Have we got any of these I haven't done yet that aren't incredibly long races? As I said, I've tried to drive around and grab as much sort of things as I can. It's a G-Class vehicle. I tried to race the Bugatti type whatever I have is a G-Class car, which kind of... It works. It's not what I would call competitive, shall we say. Let's go to D-Class. Right, so we'll grab the Mustang. Now, the Mustang isn't upgraded. I only just bought the car before doing this video. So, let's have a look. I don't know what we're going to come up against here. I feel like I'm going to get screwed over by something. You saw what that Mercedes was doing in that previous race. What are we up against? Oh, no, not the Jeep. I've just noticed someone is very, very tall in a Lotus at the front. That Porsche does not look like it should be here. That looks quite a modern Porsche. I feel like I'm in a bad place here. I've got to hope that the AI make mistakes / don't like the technical section that's coming up. Oh dear. I think this is going to be a much, much tougher race for me. And guess what car has got to the front? SUVs are the way to go, and I can't believe I'm saying that, and I don't want to say that. However, look at it, it's gone. It's just completely and utterly buggered off up at the front. And it will... Oh, Isaac, where have you gone? I think Isaac got reset. Isaac's broken a little bit. Oh, the Porsche's had a massive off. Well, this is... a little bit more sketchy for the to be fair, this is a sketchy circuit. I should also mention while talk about this game, I'll talk about this mod, there is such a huge amount of stuff being added that it's perhaps a little unsurprising that I have run into a few bugs along the way. Lighting on some cars, especially on some interiors, can be a little bit strange. Lighting certainly in some of the... like some of the locations, like the showrooms, can sometimes look a little bit off. apparently it's just the way Test Drive renders stuff. Yeah, at times vehicles can look a little bit funky. As I said, not all of the interiors are all that pretty. The Mustang's actually not too bad. Some are a little bit more off. And I did have, when I started playing this mod, an awful lot of issues with, I presume it was with one particular car model that would spike and glitch everything out and crash it, which was not great when it got drawn in a race with you. Now, one of the patches does seem to have fixed that issue. I've not come across it. I've played it for about 4 or 5 hours at least since then, or since I sort of patched the mod, and I have not had any weird spiking, game-breaking issues since. However, it's something you really say you're going to have to do. Things can get a little bit conky with this one, to say the least. I'm not so surprised. Again, you know, it's so much stuff added to the game that wasn't there to begin with. You can expect there to be the odd little thing here and there that causes it grief. Fairly straightforward mod to install as well, you'll be pleased to know. I've figured it out without too much trouble, and that's generally a sign that it isn't too bad to install. I have had on and off issues with getting the graphics settings to do what I want them to. However, it is, yeah, I've now currently got it working, so that's something at least. Really, at the end of the day, what this mod has done has reignited my interest for Test Drive. I would probably never have gone back to Test Drive Unlimited. Not that it's a bad game, do not get me wrong here, but I would probably never have thought of going back to Test Drive Unlimited particularly. However, when you add this many cars, when you add such a huge variety of vehicles into what was an already pretty damn good game, it's just sort of revitalised. It is... Oh dear, that's going to have a big crash there if I'm not careful. You've got so many more options, ways to play through the game, cars to drive through the game, that it makes you want to go and play it again. I don't know what Isaac's doing. Isaac's having a really bad time in that poor Celine. But yeah, it will really reignite your interest in Test Drive Unlimited. There'll still be some of the similar frustrations, and the balance is a tad wonky, but it's damn good fun. It's damn good fun indeed. I would highly recommend picking up a old copy of Test Drive. Now, I don't think you can get Unlimited on anything like Steam or whatnot. I got a PC copy. I got a disc copy for this for about £5 from CEX. Well, that's it. That's in England. I don't know what you'll have elsewhere, but certainly eBay and the like. You'll be able to pick a copy up of this game for fairly little money, and it's just an entire new experience almost. Apparently, yeah, this track's got some issues with the AI going on over there. Abigail with a broken, insanely fast Jeep is going to take a victory in this one. SUVs are stupendously quick, I hate to say it. But, yeah, there we go. I guess I'm going to need to upgrade the Mustang or get something else for D-Class. And yeah, there we go, £9,500. Not quite good enough. Yeah, really do go and check out this mod. I will, of course, put a link to the mod in the description so you can go and give it a try yourself. If, like me, there's a very good chance you will. I think that SUV just ate a bike. That's not what you're supposed to do. Oh, crap. Zonda goes flying past, 350Z goes flying past. Yeah, if you're like me, this will completely reignite your interest in Test Drive Unlimited. It'll make you want to play through the game again and explore and drive all sorts of new vehicles and find something that can beat the damn overpowered SUVs. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, a goodbye.